to the track, the wall, makes the leap, and makes the catch! Amazing catch by Junior! He got it! A perfect game! 13 strikeouts! Line pitching out towards straightaway center field, drifting out toward right center, shot at the wall, leaps up, and he makes the catch! Mike Trout with another spectacular grab! There is out number 2. Bonds hit play high. Hits it deep. It is out of here. 7:56. What a special moment for Barry Bonds. Swinging a long drive. Deep to right. Going. Goodbye. He has done it. He has changed the game of the night.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to... Oh, that's your role. My bad.
I kind of like that. Hello, everybody,
and welcome to Champions. All right, go.
Please keep that all in there. I hope that's how we actually start.
Oh, that would be great.
Okay, so that's how we're going to actually start. So we've now started. But really, welcome to another episode of the Champions Adjust podcast. This is season, 2, episode number 7, season 2, episode number 7 of the Champions Adjust podcast. Whoa. And here we cover baseball. We cover everything from short hops to bat flips. Our main area of focus is youth baseball because that's where Coach Bodzin and I coach. We coach a 13-year-old team called Wolfpack Baseball, so we're very, very interested in youth baseball. Recently we have covered a lot of MLB because there was not a lot of stuff going on. We have covered some college. We will do some postseason editions of MLB, but mostly we cover youth baseball because there's a lot of stuff going on in youth baseball. There's a lot of stuff going on in youth sports. There's a lot of things that people don't know about that I think we could educate people on since we played in youth sports. We grew up in youth sports and now we're coaching in it. I think there's a lot of things that families and parents and kids can really benefit from knowing.
Sure.
So we're sharing our experiences. We're sharing things that we think to be true. This is not about preaching. This is not about telling you what to do. This is about sharing advice so that everyone can be a champion and adjust along the way. See how I dropped that in there?
We are you know what they say about champions.
What do they say about champions?
Champions adjust, baby.
Champions adjust, baby.
Yeah. By the way, if you can see this, you are awesome, and you should keep that shit up. Let me tell you what.
But yeah, that's what we do here. So we're gonna dive in a little bit to our team.
Yeah, full disclosure off the bat.
What?
And we're going to talk about this, but man, I'm tired. How about you?
I feel okay.
Okay. So, this past weekend, Coach Aaron and I, along with Coach Lovell and Coach Dalen Holt, we went to Houston for the Perfect Game Regional Championship. Yeah. So the best teams in the region come together to Houston. And so, there's different levels, right? You got 9U all the way through 14U, and you got AA, AAA majors. We were in the 13 majors, and we were one of 27 teams that entered into the 13 majors. So 27 teams from Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, Houston, Tyler, Longview, all the way to like Odessa, Midland areas, come all the way together in a 10-hour radius. And the best 27 teams who wanted to be a part of this come together and they play. Well, that entailed of 6 games and just heat. Houston's hot. Mm-hmm. And so I was asleep we got back yesterday, and I was asleep by 8 p.m.
Yeah, we got back by about 7 p.m.
Yeah, I was asleep within an hour.
6 games, 3 days, 2 games a day.
It was a lot of fun. We'll talk more about that, but I do want to give one big shout out before we really get into this. Just at the top of the hour. Mm-hmm. I find it incredible. Select baseball is different now than it was when we were growing up, right?
Can you say the difference between rec baseball and select baseball? Just briefly.
It depends on who you're talking to, rec league baseball and select baseball. In theory, well, one, rec baseball is considerably more affordable.
Yes.
It's just considerably more affordable. You're playing a rec league sponsored by the city. You get your uniforms. You get to play some games in the middle of the week, and you go home.
And usually a parent coaches.
Usually a parent coaches. Usually the competition's not quite there. Usually the coaching level isn't quite there. That is not necessarily fair to assume. Because a parent can be very knowledgeable.
Sure.
You know, I'm going to be a father, and I will consider myself a father who is knowledgeable about the game.
Yeah.
And there's considerably less pressure in theory. At the rec league level. Select baseball is buttoned up. Well, it's, I have my own thoughts, which we can get into on a different platform or different time, but different episode. Select baseball can be a big money grab of, hey, thanks for your money. Good luck. Sometimes the coaches aren't super knowledgeable in select baseball. Sometimes the competition is not very fierce. But what it should be, and what I feel the Wolfpack Baseball organization does a good job of, as well as some other organizations we've seen out there, high-level coaching, high-level education, high-level talent, high-level competition. And you're not just learning baseball, you're learning more about life and what it is to fail and what it is to succeed. And you're going up against the best of the best. For example, this weekend we played 4 of the top 27, 28 teams in this entire state of Texas, ranked by Perfect Game Baseball, which is a good measuring stick. So with that in mind, I'm glad, right? We went out to Houston. We played some of the top talent in the state, and we did really well against them. We won a couple. We lost a couple. I ended up going 4-2 on the weekend. I'm digressing. But yeah, I think that's the big difference to me about, also select baseball is coined travel ball.
Right.
And not just, travel ball isn't just, coming from Dallas to Florida, Dallas to Houston, Dallas to Oklahoma. Travel ball is going from Dallas to Fort Worth.
Right.
And Dallas to Cleburne and Dallas to Waxahachie, which is in the surrounding Dallas area, but it's still an hour 15 away. And you're going and you're coming back, and you're going back and coming back. We'll give the example of, the tournament day that we're going to talk about soon, which was 2 weeks ago, where as coaches, we went from our houses in Plano to, where was our first games?
Field of Dreams?
No,
Mansfield?
Mansfield. So we go from Plano to Mansfield, about an hour, 10 minutes, all the way back to Plano, hour, 10 minutes, to drive 45 minutes to Melissa, back to Plano, back to Mansfield the next day, back to Plano, back to Mansfield, back to Plano. That was a combined about 5.5 hours of driving in 2 days as coaches. And so that leads me to what I wanted to give a shout out to.
Okay.
In select baseball, it is bizarre to think about how much travel there is. And as coaches, we see that we have to, spend gas. We got to, go eat. We got to do this. We got to do that, just so we can coach the game we love for the kids that we love to coach.
Exactly.
The parents of these kids, though, not only do they have a kid on this team and they're paying this price, financially, monetarily,
it's a good price.
For the kid to be on the team, they also have 2, 3, 4, 5 kids that they're paying for to do different sports, and they're finding a way to get them to Mansfield, or a couple of those kids that weekend played in Mansfield, and then that morning, and then Melissa that night. They're also driving those 5.5 hours while they're figuring out how they're going to get their other kids to games. And their other kids, have to feed them and get gas and do all of that. And so it's easy to not think about as coaches when we're in the city. Hey, thanks for dropping them off. Thanks for being here. Thanks for picking them up. See you later. But we're in Houston, and we sat down and we got to know a lot of the parents.
Yeah. It's kind of the first time, at least for me personally, that I've been able to speak to them more than just like a passing.
Sure.
Right? Because we're all the same place. There's nowhere we can go. Or
right. We're in the same hotel.
We're in the same hotel. So it gives you an opportunity to meet people and see where the kids come from and why they act the way they do and why they have respect and manners and things of that nature. And it's nice to see kind of that lineage.
Yes. And it's nice to see that lineage, but it's also great to see the hard work that goes into caring for these children that we care for. We really, and it was put to me by one of the parents this weekend, like, hey, you guys are our daycare for a few hours a week. we drop them off and they're yours. We you do whatever you need to do with them.
Yeah.
Which thank you for the trust. And I think we do a lot with that trust. But it takes a lot of work and a lot of effort and a lot of money to
a lot of money, man,
to do what they are allowing their kids to do, which is different from what it was when we were kids.
Mm-hmm.
When we were kids, it was different. There were maybe 1 to 2 teams, maybe 2 at each age group, and were you traveling that much? Not really. I didn't travel a ton. There were a couple tournaments, but
I didn't travel a ton.
It didn't cost as much as it does now.
That's why I was able to be on like 3 teams at a time.
Yeah.
Which equals about what we do now with one.
Yes.
Right? That's why my mom had me on so many teams, so that, because in rec league you're not practicing during the week, you might play 1, right? So you can be on 2 teams and you can be on a travel ball team on the weekend.
Sure.
And you get all those games in and practices it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now it's like you kind of want to find more than one select team is way too much.
Yeah, right.
At times it's almost too much what
just
we
for
do.
one. We practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday games, Saturday, Sunday.
That's a lot, right? And so that's why the initial thing always has to be a love for the game.
Yes.
Right? That's why we kind of want to take that spirit of rec ball, because it gets a bad reputation as something that's like whatever, right? But it's meant to be fun.
Yeah.
That's what it's meant to be when you're 8, 9, 10 years old. It's meant to be fun. You're learning your body. You're learning how to socialize. You're learning how to move. You're learning a sport that's complicated but so awesome.
Yes.
Right? And then you start to develop a little bit of skill, and then you can kind of make it a little bit more competitive.
Yes.
But you still want to have that nature of fun. And that's hard when you're trying to do something competitive or excellent, right? It's hard to keep that nature of fun, but that's our job as coaches to do that.
Gotta have fun.
To remind the kids that this is fun.
For example, we were down a couple yesterday, and all of a sudden Eminem Lose Yourself came on, and I started rapping the entire first verse, and the kids were like, I thought you said locked in. I was like, I am freaking locked in.
Right.
To Eminem right now, let's go. Gotta have fun. Like,
I don't know if you guys know as listeners or viewers, but Coach Bodzin is an A+ rapper.
Yeah, that is not true. They actually
episode 8 is going to be a full 45-minute freestyle, just in case you're wondering.
Yeah, man, because you know what they say about money, right?
What?
My money don't jiggle jiggle, it folds. You make me want to wiggle wiggle. I don't even actually know the words anymore.
Anyways,
you want to dribble. Riding in my Fiat. You really have to see it. 6'2" in a compact, no slack. But luckily the seats go back because I like to relax. And okay, that's right. That's where I draw the line.
fun.
Yeah, we gotta have fun. Actually, I will go up to the kids and I'll rap that to them and just get them smiling. Like, hey, we're down 2 in the bottom of the 9th or bottom of the 7th in our case. Like, you got runners in 2nd and 3rd, and a base hit's gonna tie it. You got 2 outs, so you're gonna be really hard on yourself if you don't. So what am I gonna go do? And you can watch this. If you ever watch, parents are listening or kids, you see me doing this. If you see me go up to a kid in that situation, I'm probably doing exactly that. I'm going, hey man, come here. My money don't jiggle. It folds. And all of a sudden they smile. I'm like, dude, relax, calm down. Just a game. Mm-hmm. Keep your hands in, keep your shoulders square, breathe. You're a fucking dude. Get your hands through the zone. Get it back to the zone, barrel it up, and do your best, mm-hmm. right? And just see what happens. And, you'll be surprised what happens when you just relax your body a little bit. And then, boop, game-winning hit.
Right.
Hey, told you can do it.
Nice, Westin Williams.
Westin Williams, baby.
Nice.
And then, good God, Caden Job. We'll talk about that in a bit. But anyway, wrapping up my thought, I just want to give a huge shout-out to the parents of the kids that work really hard to get their kids to where they need to be and sacrifice immensely to do so for the betterment of the team, and it helps us do our jobs. And I put, and I know you do too, I put every ounce of energy I have, and Lulu makes jokes about it. I put every ounce of energy I have into these kids on the weekends. Like I leave nothing behind, and I'm exhausted at the end of it, but it is worth it when the kids appreciate it and the parents appreciate it. So big time shout out to the parents for being there this past weekend, and overall just across the board, being there for your kids so that we can do our jobs.
Yeah, I think a lot about the parents. I think a lot about us. in our relationship with the players.
Sure.
I think a lot about the coach-parent relationship. I think a lot about what we're trying to teach them and how it can be enforced at home, how what they're trying to be taught at home can be enforced by us, right? And all of those things matter. That's why sports aren't just sports.
Right.
No matter what you use as your vehicle, whether it's you're in band, because you can learn the same stuff in band, right?
Yeah.
You're in a community, you're in a team, whether it's choir, whatever sport you decide to do, whether it's a religious community, right? All of these things are just vehicles to give you these little lessons that you're not necessarily going to learn in the classroom, but you're going to learn in life, in your small life. So when your life gets bigger and you have a kid, or you have a job, or you get fired, or you need to go to college, and you need to prioritize your time, all of these things, you're like, okay, let me think back on some experience I had. Okay, we did this camp one time here, and this happened. Okay, now I have this, and then my mom told me this one time, but when I was 13, I thought she was dumb, but really she was hella smart and always had my back. And Coach Bodzin was super cool then. He actually said the same thing as my mom when I was 13. Now I'm 18. Oh, okay, that fucking makes sense.
Yeah.
It's all of those things. Because we talked to a mom, Jamie Cantrell, over the weekend. She's like, yeah, both my kids don't think I'm cool anymore.
Yeah. Well, punks.
And I'm like, well, we think you're mad cool. And coming from two guys who absolutely love their moms.
Yeah, Colin, when you listen to this, Colin, your mom's a badass, and you'll see that over time.
Yeah.
Oh, every single one of you kids who is listening to this, your mom is an absolute badass. Your dad's okay. Your dad's okay. Your mom's a badass.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this, your dad's okay. Your mom is an absolute badass, and if you don't understand that now, you will in the very near future.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you right now that she is.
My mom's listening to this, so.
Yeah, and your mom is a badass. And my mom, Sandy, who's not listening to this, but she's a badass.
Well, we'll clip this little part out.
She was like 2 episodes early on. She's like, yeah, it was good. Okay, buddy. That's okay.
So those are some initial thoughts from over the weekend. The baseball was good, right?
Baseball's really good.
We ran into some really good teams. I love playing those good teams.
Yeah.
And seeing what kind of studs we have out here in the state of Texas.
It was cool to get like a measuring stick of where we are at, because we talked about this yesterday. I really would put our Navy team up against any team in the city of Dallas. I would argue that we are one of the top teams in the city of Dallas at the 13U majors and 14U majors level.
Yeah.
We can beat most of those teams. But then you go out to like Houston, Austin, and San Antonio, where it's a little bit more of like an all-star team feel, like an all-city team. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, holy cow, there's some athletes on this team. Like, give you an example. We were in the semifinal game yesterday, and we put Steven Medrano, who's just been a dude for us, on gold. Yeah. Just an absolute dude all season, works his tail off all year. He's, I don't think he takes a day off. Him and his brother Jason both. Neither one of them take days off. They are playing every single day, preparing, watching the game, doing drills, etc.
And their parents are all in.
And their parents are all in. And Jennifer Medrano, badass. Frank Medrano, also really cool. No, you're part of the. No, you're awesome. Both of you guys are awesome. But anyway, we give Steven Medrano an opportunity. New pitcher, this all city team based out of Georgetown, Texas, which is just north of Austin. I know this team's Houston. This is like an all city team in Houston. Kid's pumping like 74, 75 from a weird angle, and none of our guys are really touching it. And he comes up to the plate, and he absolutely squares a ball up, dribbler down the line. That 10 out of 10 times in the 14U AAA, which we put our 13, we put two 13U teams. One plays 14 AAA, one plays 14 majors, and 10 out of 10 times it's a base hit. This kid on this Houston team just off balance, like reached over with his glove side across his body to make to bring the ball in. Then off his back foot, his right foot, he turns his body and flips it an absolute laser beam to first base to get the out.
Yeah.
And Steven came in, he was upset. I'm like, what's wrong, dude? He goes, that was my one shot to prove myself to the Navy team. That's what he said. I was like, God. I said, okay. I said, dude, you went first pitch ready. First pitch fastball that nobody else can touch. First pitch ready, and you squared the ball up like 80 miles per hour off the bat, which is good for a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
And, I mean, arguably one of the best third basemen in the state made a play on you. Like, what are you going to do about that? In my book, that's a hit.
Yeah.
Like, it's all you can ask for a kid. You come in, you have one shot, one opportunity. Do not miss your chance.
Okay, Eminem.
And he didn't.
No, he didn't.
He didn't.
Because we talk a lot about, letting go of the outcome. Because the outcome is out of our control. Part of our Champions Adjust, mindset program, or what we teach them on the mental skills, is that the outcome is out of your control, completely out of your control. If you need a better example than Hunter Green throwing a no-hitter and still losing a ball game, that's the prime example. And if that can trickle down into a 13-year-old brain, that Hunter Green can throw a no-hitter and still lose, that you can absolutely piece up a baseball, whether it be to the shortstop, the second baseman, the third baseman, the center fielder, the left fielder, the right fielder. Once the ball leaves the bat, you're out of your control. The only thing you have control over is your timing, your approach, your routine, and what pitch you swing at.
I talk with two pitchers about that all the time. I want to bring up two names over the weekend that we saw. Preston Farragut went 0 for 7, I think, on Saturday. Or he was 0 for 6 at one point on Saturday.
He had 2 hits.
Okay.
But the other times that he got out, they were all
laser beams. And he was like pissed. And at one point I got onto him and I was like, let's talk more about what you didn't do versus what the team did do. Let's talk more about you. Like, I was like, dude, why are you so concerned about the fact that you pieced the ball that went right to a center fielder? Like, we get it. Nobody's upset with you about it. Mm-hmm. Support the team. Him and Westin Williams, too. Westin Williams, at points, looked a little lost at the plate. I think he was getting into his head. He was losing a little bit of confidence in himself. But when he barreled up, man, he yesterday went oppo to a guy close to the wall. They just made a play. And it's like, he got a hanging slider, went the other way, right fielder just made a play on him.
Right.
And it's just like, you can't control that. I talk to pitchers every single day. I don't care how hard you throw the baseball. Nothing you do while you're on the mound is going to help you throw it harder anymore. You've done all of your work off the field.
Right.
Once you're on the mound, you have to relax your body. Your mechanics done right are going to get you velocity. If you try to muscle up and throw the ball hard, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to grip this as hard as I can. I'm going to throw as hard as I can. I'm going to take 3, 4, 5 miles per hour off my fastball. Mm-hmm. But if I get up and I'm just loosely holding it, I'm going to go 2-seamer. I'm just going to loosely grip it, and I'm just going to, and I'm going to go through my motions, my torque and my core and my legs and everything I've worked hard to build up over the last few days, weeks, months, years. That's what comes into control now. Mm-hmm. And that's what's going to have velocity. Same thing that what you just said. Mm-hmm. Once the ball leaves your hand, once the ball leaves your bat, you've done your job.
Right.
Through all your focus exercises, through all your hard work, in the weight room and practice, etc., your mechanics, if you have the right approach, there's nothing that you're going to do to muscle it. That's just not going to be beneficial to the outcome of the play. Mm-hmm. Right? And it's hard to convince kids that all the work happens before the game.
Right.
Once you're in the game, that's why we don't really talk to the kids a lot when they're on the field. We've worked really hard to get you guys ready for this game. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Go play.
Go play.
And that's my message to coaches who micromanage, which we saw last year with our team. I did a little bit more. It was my first year coaching, and I recognize now that I should not have done that. But when you practice 2-3 days a week, and you work really hard with these kids, you've done your job as a coach. Take a step back. You can run the offense, run steals, run bunts, call pitches if you need to, which we don't really do. Mm-mm. But ground ball to third base and he didn't get around the baseball, he knows. He knows he made an error. Nothing I say is going to help the situation.
Except for a calm,
hey, next ball's coming to you. Next ball's coming to you.
Embodying the response that you want the player to have.
If I see a kid not line up the second base the right way, I'm not going to sit here and go, hey, line up across the freaking bag. Let's go. No, hey, come back in. Hey, what do you think you could have done better there? Right. Let's talk about this. And here's what I saw. Here's what we need to happen. Okay, now we know.
Right.
Don't micromanage the game. It's not helping anybody. And it's sports and even high school baseball. Let them learn the game themselves, because if you tell them every single time they do something wrong, guess what? They're thinking about that more than they're thinking about the next play.
So the issue that arises in high school is that the coach's job is on the line.
Yes, understood.
And that's why I said high school line if we win or lose.
Correct.
What really happens if the parents care more about winning than the development of their players. They just go find a new team.
Yeah, we say this isn't the program for you,
and we find another guy.
We're gonna win, but you know.
But the problem when you get to the high school, college level,
yes,
where if you don't have 2 winning seasons in a row, or you have 2 losing seasons in a row, you're fired.
Right.
And so that's a big thing to think about. And so coaches start to over-rotate on managing the game so tightly that they don't let their players play because they have this mindset of like, if I don't have a winning season, I'm fired, which is probably true. But if they want to embody the same things they want their players to do, they also have to under-rotate on that. They have to relax. They have to flip that and say, okay, you guys, we've done the work. I've done the work as a coach. I understand the reports, all these things. I understand my players. I put them in the right spot. I've given them all the tools to succeed. Now let's get after it. Yeah. And if they get it done, they get it done. If they don't, they don't. Right? The outcome is is how your process is going.
Yes.
So you can change your process always based on your outcome. And so coaches who our jobs are on the line, they tend to over-rotate on those things, and then it tends to backfire on them because their players play more tight. Right? They play less loose. They don't trust themselves because they're trying to do exactly what their coach says all the time, no matter what, with little creativity. We talk about that a lot, with little flow, with not allowing their athletic parts to shine deeply.
Yes.
And so that becomes a problem there for coaches.
Yes.
So they need to figure that out as well. But it's hard because, your livelihood is on the line.
There's a lot of pressure on yourself
tough.
too, but we preach not putting the pressure on yourself, right? Like, hey, you've done the work, you have to now let it play out. So as a coach, I have to do the same. Like, I care very deeply for the success of every single player who plays for us.
Right.
Very deeply. Which is why when Caden Jobe gets 3 walk-off RBIs or 2 walk-off RBIs and 3 game-winning RBIs in 6 games, I'm just over the moon for him.
Right.
But at the same time, when I see, Grady Holmes struggle at the plate, when I know he's one of the best hitters we have, my heart breaks for the kid. He's beating himself up.
Sure.
And it's just like, man, I want to jump in there for you and help you do this, but all I can say is, man, you're casting your hands out. You got to breathe and have an approach. You got to have an approach, right? It's all we can really do, especially when they're on the mound. I work with the pitchers very closely, and I want nothing more than success. So I tend to overreact when there's an error that keeps my pitcher on the mound longer because I hinge a lot of my emotions upon how the pitchers are doing because I work closely with them on that stuff.
We want to be in the trenches with them.
Yeah,
but we don't play for them. They play. Yeah. We just try to do the best we can to give them all the tools they can, and then to embody a demeanor that shows that we always have confidence in them, no matter what the situation is.
Yes.
And eventually they will feel that in themselves, regardless of the coach.
Yes.
Because they're not always going to have coaches like us. Hopefully they have better coaches, right, when they continue to play baseball longer.
Yep.
But they might have coaches who don't respond the way we respond. So now they're so internally driven and intrinsically motivated that no matter if their coach is yeeting a bucket of baseball in the dugout, their demeanor is still, I got the next play. Doesn't matter. I got it. And then they make the next 4, 5, 6, 7 plays in a row.
Yep.
And so
100%.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. So that's what we're teaching.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about a little bit of our games and what's been going on the last couple of weeks?
We touched on Houston.
Yeah, we touched on Houston.
And then the week before Houston, we had a cool weekend.
We did have a cool weekend.
And then we'll touch that and we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, let's go. Now I'll monologue for a second here. Gold Team is a team that, that's the team that I run offense for. And I make most of the decisions for our Gold Team. And a bunch of really great kids who just haven't physically developed as much as some of the guys on Navy. They're still phenomenal athletes, but we got a starting first baseman. We got a starting shortstop on Navy who's 5'11" and throws the ball 78 miles per hour, and I got a starting shortstop on Gold who's 5'2".
Yeah, and basically just started playing baseball.
And just got back into baseball, right? But phenomenal athlete, and he's hitting 400 for us, but he's just, the development in baseball knowledge is a little bit different. So we played in 14U AAA, and we are 500 on the season against 14 AAA. And if we played 13 AAA, then we'd win a lot more games. But we don't. We play 14 AAA. We want to push their limits a little bit and get them ready.
We don't care about winning games.
Yeah, we don't care about winning games. So we took this past weekend off, but the weekend before that, we went up against a team that we lost, Keller Chargers. We lost 8-5. It was, one of those where winnable game, too many errors, too many walks. Just didn't come together for us. Too many errors, too many walks, lose the game. But we came back the next game and we were down 4-2. And it was 3-2. And we come back and we score 8 runs in the top half. Basically saying, hey, we need energy on the bench. Let's score some runs. Then we put my boy Jason Madrano on the mound, who made the funniest play I've ever seen. He had a runner on third and 1 out, and there was a ground ball to Jason. He took the ball, he checked the runner on third like you're supposed to do. Then he started making his move towards first. When he started making his move towards first, and again, this run represents a run that will get this team within 6 of us. Like, we're up 7 at this point. If this run scores, now we're up 6 with 1 out in the last inning. So we're all going 1-1-1. Get the surefire out. Let the run score. It does not matter. He kind of figured it out at the last second. If you're watching, you can kind of see I'm stepping towards home, but now I'm going to throw to first, and I end up throwing right to the dugout. And he threw it over the dugout. So not only does the run score, but now the surefire out is now on second base. And you can just see he's like clinching. So I go talk to him. I look at him, I was like, that's one of the funniest plays I've ever seen. Like, that's awesome. Like, it's okay. We still got a 6-run lead. Just throw the ball down the middle. It's going to happen. Like, just keep throwing your game. You're going to be good. It worked out. He ended up getting a strike 3 called to end the game. We win that game, and we go to the next day against a team that just beat us 8-5 earlier that day. In what was probably one of the better baseball games I've ever been a part of. We had our boy Thin Cove up on the mound against one of their guys. Same thing, Keller Chargers. It was a 75-minute, 7-inning game.
Beautiful game.
Lost 3-1. I got a player thrown out of home in the last inning, which I still would have done again. Basically, it was one of those situations. Coaches, you know what I'm talking about. I have a runner on second. I got a run on first and no outs. And he's got average minus speed. Mm-hmm. Just below average speed. But he hustles. And he's gotten faster. And we have JP Malone, who just barrels one to left center field. And he's coming towards third, and I see they haven't picked up the ball yet. And I'm thinking, all right, send them, because it's going to take 2 perfect throws to throw him out. Mm-hmm. So go. And if one of these 2 throws is even an inch off, then we're safe. And what happens, they throw 2 perfect. The relay to home is absolutely perfect. And they throw him out. Boom. Boom. Happens.
It's a good relay.
Perfect throws, good relay. We ended up losing the game 3-1. It was a tremendous game that was 75 minutes long. If you know anything about youth sports, there's a time limit in these games. So this is a bracket play game. So it's an hour 45. We finished 30 minutes ahead of time while playing the length of the entire game.
All innings, yeah.
All innings. So that was
an incredible game. Tight, smooth,
phenomenal,
sharp, just good stuff all around.
Yes.
And that was the end of their weekend. And then
and
they'll suit back up
this weekend.
This coming weekend, the first weekend of
Super
June.
excited to get back with them.
Yeah.
We
got
got
to be ready to go because they came off a really good game.
Yep. And we had 4 of those guys come with us, Finn Cove, the Madrano brothers, and Lincoln Boyles.
Big Dog Lincoln.
Big Dog Lincoln, who is our base running extraordinaire this weekend. Great to have him on the base. He's a very knowledgeable base runner. Another one of those kids who's a really fun athlete. He's 5'2". He just hasn't grown yet, but he's a really fun athlete to watch.
Baseball IQ is very strong.
Yes, he's great baseball IQ. So that was that, and then we go to Melissa, where Navy got no hit in the first game, and there was a lot of infighting. Rebounded and beat the heck out of the next team. This is a 14U majors tournament. First team we got no hit. Second game was not a great team. We beat them 9-1. Next day we play a majors team. Go down 3-0 early. End up beating them. Mm-hmm. And then so we go to the semifinals where we play the team that no hit us.
Yeah.
And beat them. Really knocked it into them 6-3. And then we go in the championship game, which started 45 minutes late. It's now 8:45 p.m. Kids
Sunday
night. Kids all have finals the next day. Yeah. End up winning in extra innings. Shout out Westin Williams coming down and just locking it down for us. Max Bachman with a huge triple. Just a fun weekend. Ended up winning a 14U championship going into this past weekend. And this past weekend, we go out there and, win 2 on Saturday, which were necessary to get us in the gold bracket and the top bracket of the 13 majors. And then Sunday,
2 more.
We win 2 more to ensure that we're in the winners bracket of the 13U majors. So now we're 4-0. In that last game we played, we didn't know this at the time. We went up against a team called the San Antonio Kings, and basically they're ranked number 26th in the state. They're ranked 6th in the region, which is phenomenal. They got a bunch of dudes, just big dudes. Some of which probably weren't legally there. We came to find out. Some of which probably shouldn't have been playing for them. But whatever, We're there. We're playing. We're here to play the game. And apparently the kids on their team went up to the kids on our team during warm-ups and said, "Hey, we're about to make you our bitches." And the other kid's like, well, "What the F is Wolfpack, man? What do you have this kindergarten logo? Really trying to pick a fight." Well, we end up shoving it down them and down their throats, and we go beat them 7-3. Coolest thing in the world. Earlier in that day, I'll backtrack. We won a game Sunday morning against a team that we should have beaten. And we were down 1 going into the last inning. Westin Williams gets the game-tying double with the funniest slide I've ever seen. We pinch run him with Nate Cisneros, who's just absolute speed. He's been hurt, but he's been a good courtesy runner for us. And then Caden Job, when Cisneros takes third on a basketball, and Caden Job, man, he just lasers one to second base. Throw home was great. Cisneros gets around the tag. The ball ends up getting dropped, didn't matter anyway, but he gets around the tag, won the game. Then that night, 7-3, Grady Holmes on the mound, absolutely throwing BBs. And with 2 outs and a runner on third, and we're up 4 runs, an absolute missile that Caden Joe, as a lefty, lays out for, knocks it down, jumps up, sprints to the bag for the 3rd out, wins the game.
You know why? Because athletes play first.
Because athletes play first. I don't agree with that, but in this case, yes.
Athletes play first, Coach Bodzin.
Anyway, but that was cool. And then we get into yesterday. We're 4-0. Nobody knew who the Wolfpack Baseball Club was. Now it's we're 4-0. We're actually a pretty decent team. Go up against the eventual champions, the Test 13U, and my God. Well, we take a 3-0 lead, and then they go up 6-3, and I think exhaustion kind of set in a little bit. I think that it was hot outside. These kids aren't really used to it. Kids from Houston and Austin are used to it. They are. That's the weather it is there. Dallas a little drier, a little bit cooler. And I think that cramps started setting in and exhaustion. I'm not making excuses here, but it happens. It was the end of a long weekend. We dropped the first game, so then we get dropped in the losers bracket now. So we have to win that game to go to the championship, the second game, or we lose and we end up dropping that game as well. Gave everything we had. It was a really fun weekend. A lot of really fun baseball. Cole Johnson was the bench warmer of the year for us.
He's a great kid.
He's a great kid. He's been hurt. We got some really bad news a few weeks ago, and he's been, hurt and hasn't been able to play. But he came to Houston and supported the team from the bench, which was just tremendous. And there's nothing I can't say. I'll go down the list. Caden Job with a walk-off and another game-winning, with a walk-off and a game ending a grab. You got Davis Montgomery had a bum knee and this kid, man, he had a collision with Preston Farragut out in right field. Their knees collided. Davis didn't want to come out of the game and only came out of the game because he lasered one into right field and they threw him out because he couldn't get out of the box because he was so badly hurt. And that's when he took himself out of the game. His day was done. That was the second game of the weekend. He still played 4 more games after that. Badass. Max Bachman.
I just can't say enough good things about Davis.
Yeah, he's a great teammate.
As a leader, as someone who loves the game of baseball, he encourages his teammates.
Yeah.
He picks people up, plays the game hard.
Yeah.
And he's excellent at it.
Yeah.
So cheers to him.
Yeah, cheers to
How
that.
do you know you, Davis?
We got
another guy who's very similar to that is Max Bachman.
You're
just about to say.
Who threw an incredible first 3 innings for us. Game 2 on Saturday, locked down shortstop the rest of the weekend. He just absolutely locked down. Made a couple errors, which is it happens when you get 30 chances in 3 days, you're going to make a couple errors, right?
27 for 30 is pretty good.
Pretty good. He also went like 10 for 12 on the weekend hitting. I was always on base. There was one play where he went first to third on a ground ball to left field because the left fielder came up lazily and threw it to second. And so Max recognized that and took third base. And that's just heads-up base running, right? Hudson Holt threw a fantastic game one on Sunday.
What a pitcher, man.
Fantastic pitcher, great shortstop, third baseman, and center fielder as well. Yeah. Just great athlete. So he was a lot of fun to have. Let's talk about Griffin Savello for a second, man. Griffin Savello.
Gamer.
He caught 2 games yesterday for us. He got 4 games overall.
4 out of the 6.
He was super hot on Saturday, and we started him off catching. Like, all right, you're catching both games. Cool. Then Sunday comes around in a must-win game, and as a reliever comes in and shuts it down and plays center field for us against that Kings team and played phenomenal center field. And then yesterday catches 2 games again. He's just a gamer. He's a great teammate, and you ask him to do it, and he'll do it. He's awesome. Chase Robbins, another phenomenal pitcher. There was he threw 3 innings on Saturday, threw 20 pitches on 3 innings. Like, that's just.
It was crazy.
Are you kidding me? And a little bit hotter yesterday. It was a bit tougher, and he started the game really strong. And they just kind of caught up to him. They were a good hitting team. This test team was phenomenal. They ended up winning the championship, and they just caught up to him. And you got Rhett Kincaid, who it's tough to go Saturday. He was our starting left fielder. Then Sunday, he was told he was sitting the bench. He's going to be a pinch runner, and he still contributed heavily to our running game. And then Monday came back, and he pitched and played left field for us.
He made an absolute stellar catch at the wall.
On the track.
Beautiful play, right? He just adjusted, right? He didn't get the play. Sunday didn't take him out of his game. Came back Monday, prime, ready to go, like it didn't even phase him because it didn't. And he threw well. He played, great.
Preston Farragut, who we mentioned earlier. You put him behind the plate. He has some things to button up, and he knows this, but he throws everybody out. He backpicked somebody at second, and we didn't know what was happening because he very casually started his arm motion, and then he sped it up and threw to second, and threw a guy out of second. He's a fun athlete. He can play every position. We put him at center, catcher, and pitcher because that's where his value is for us, but he can play every position.
Yeah.
Colin Cantrell
has developed into an absolutely stellar outfielder.
Oh my God,
believes how important it is now, and he goes out there and gets after it.
This kid,
swing it. Right?
First off, we started him game 1 of this tournament, right, against a team that the Texas Edge. Game 1 Saturday, Texas Edge hadn't lost a game in perfect game. They were 15-0, and a lot of our kids know their kids, and their team let us know a lot of hey, you've never beat us before. We played them in the fall. All of our kids have played them in the past. Not one kid in our team has ever beaten this team before. And Kellen was the starter. Mm-hmm. He came in and he absolutely shut him down, and we won 6-3.
Yeah.
He made some tremendous. We put him in right field a lot because it's important in right field to have somebody with an arm who can track down baseballs and has speed to go back things up. So he's the perfect right fielder for us, for what we need. And he made some incredible plays in right field, and we wouldn't have been 4-0 without him locking that down and without his pitching abilities. So it was just fun. Anybody I'm forgetting to mention? I think I mentioned everybody. Nate Cisneros, we mentioned, was a phenomenal courtesy runner. He's very aggressive base running, which inevitably let me get to him. Yeah, when you're as aggressive a base runner as Nate Cisneros is, you're inevitably going to get thrown out.
Yeah.
He's so aggressive, but it works out a lot too. And then Grady is a dude who struggled a little bit at the plate this weekend, but he went up against that Texas Kings team and he San Antonio Kings team, and he locked them. He shut them down. I said I need 5 innings out of you.
Sometimes you're gonna struggle at the dish, but it didn't take away from his other abilities to perform. Played good defense.
Tremendous first baseman.
Pitched, right? Sometimes you're gonna struggle in certain areas of your game.
Yeah,
that doesn't matter because you can still be a valuable part of your team. Whether you're just picking people up, whether you're throwing strikes, whether you're fielding the baseball. Yeah. Whether you're just doing whatever you're doing, there's so much value to be had outside of just one little nugget of your game. So great.
Yeah, agreed. And then we have Westin Williams. And I think my only regret with Westin Williams this past weekend was that unfortunately he didn't pitch as much as we should have pitched him. We pitched him at the end of the first game against a test, basically to kill time. Throw him in there, get him his work, and he's our closer. We just didn't need him to close out games. We had so much pitching that we just didn't need him to close out games. But he's the ultimate teammate. You go up to him and say, hey, you're going to pitch. Okay, hey, you're not going to pitch. Okay, hey, you're going to play third. Okay, hey, you're going to DH this game. Okay.
Yeah, he's great.
He's just, he will do whatever you want him to do. He has a tremendous bat. He plays really solid third base. I think he was 6 for 6 in opportunities on Saturday. And then we benched him Sunday and Monday because nothing that he did wrong. It's just the way our defense alignment went that we had Hudson and Chase that we needed to get in there so we can store up other parts of our field. And Westin was the odd man out in those situations. Yeah. But it was nothing against him, right?
He still got to hit.
He still got to hit. He still did hit really well. He started off rocky on the mound, and then he found it. And he's a guy, when he finds it, man, he's hard to hit. And he did. And I'm proud of every single one of those kids. I think we went through, the Madranos were there, and Jason got a couple of bats on Saturday and was our bullpen catcher. Steven was, top of the dugout all weekend long. Finally got his opportunity and squared one up. Finn got an inning yesterday. They hit him. They barely. It was weird for Finn because they scored 4 runs on him, right? But it wasn't like they hit him hard. They just, we had our outfield back for a reason, but he throws so soft and he throws strikes so softly that, they were kind of just getting their little base hits in, constantly.
There were some misplayed balls and
a couple errors.
Guys weren't used to playing defense behind him, so
right.
But he did what Finn does. He threw strikes.
So. Absolutely, and then Lincoln Boyle's just running bases as much as he can for us. So that was Anyway, that's
it. That's our squad.
That really wraps up our squad this weekend. It was a lot of fun to be a part of. I appreciate all the parents being there and taking them out there, and ordering us some pizza on Saturday night, every time I looked up, I had another beer in front of me. Shout out Allie Williams and Jamie Cantrell for that, and I'm honored to be a part of this squad. I'm really looking forward to this weekend. We're going to have Sloan White back, behind the dish for us this weekend. He's been dealing with some hip issues, some mobility issues, but he's cleared by the doctor to play, and we're excited for this weekend and what's to come.
Yes,
that's what I got.
That's it. That's the update on Wolfpack Baseball. We'll be back with episode 8 at some point, and This was episode number 7, Champions Adjust podcast. Your hopefully number 1 podcast for everything baseball, specifically youth baseball is where our domain of expertise is. So go to champsadjust.com for our mindset program and all of our merchandise. And every episode we've ever recorded is available there at champsadjust.com. So thanks for listening. Share this with a baseball buddy. And go out there and have the most fun you can with whatever sport you're playing, because that's what it's about. And always remember, never forget that champions adjust.
See y'all next week. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.